Thanks for taking the time to download this BBC Radio 5 Live podcast. To search for other podcasts you might like, click bbc.co.uk/5live, where you'll also find our terms of use.
Hello, thank you very much indeed for downloading 606. What a day we've had in the Premier League, in the EFL, League One and League Two. Lots of you getting in touch with us on 606, especially on the protests and the pitch invasion at West Ham United. So we'll get to your calls very shortly, and after the broadcast programme, you'll hear Robbie Savage marking the show out of 10. Enjoy.
Are you ready to have your say in the UK's biggest football debate? Your teams, your views. Get ready. This is 606 on BBC 5 Live with Robbie Savage and Jason Mohammed.
Good evening, welcome to 606. Only one place to start tonight, and that is with West Ham United. If you are at the London Stadium and witnessed those very unpleasant scenes, do give us a call. As we've been hearing in the news, pitch invasions, abuse hurled at the owners. Robbie, good evening to you. You watched the game, you saw what happened, Rob.
Disgraceful scenes from some of the West Ham fans, Jason. Now, the one thing where a player should feel he's safe is on the football pitch. So when you see fans coming on, one with a corner flag who stuck it in the centre circle, absolutely disgraceful for anyone to enter the field of play.
We're actually, Robbie, going to hear from Mark Noble, who wrestled a fan to the ground who'd gone onto the pitch, and the West Ham captain has given a very strong interview to 5 Live, so we'll play that for you very shortly. But West Ham United fans, your chance to call us now, 08085 909 693. West Bromwich Albion lose again. Will Alan Pardew last the duration of this show as boss at the Hawthorns? 85058 on the text. Newcastle United beat Southampton to ease their relegation worries. Toon Army, are you safe? Rafa is now taking the team, Robbie, to Spain to play Royal Antwerp in a mid-season friendly. How do you feel about that, Rob? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, of course it is. Why not? Why not? Team bonding. Okay, we've seen instances go wrong in recent weeks, but if togetherness, team bonding, why not?
Palace are staring at defeat at Stamford Bridge. By the way, they're 2-0 down. Were you at the Manchester United-Liverpool game today? You've had time to digest the result. We've had a call from Frankie, Rob.
Oh, Frankie.
He's not happy, so we might get him on. Liverpool fans, a bit of a disappointing day at Old Trafford. Great win for United. Marcus Rashford and Ashley Young. Did they do enough in front of Gareth Southgate to book their places to Russia? Some unbelievable results outside the Premier League. Love to hear from you if you're at Hull City, Norwich City. 4 penalties in a 4-3 win for the home side. How they needed that. Fulham won in the last minute. They can't stop winning. Tony Pulis has taken Borough into the playoffs. Neil Warnock's Cardiff City march on. Villa are playing Wolves right now. And what a game, Peter Slater.
Well, they scored twice in 5 minutes, Jason. They now lead Wolves by 3-1. You may have heard me a couple of minutes ago saying that James Chester had scored the second from a Robert Snodgrass free kick. The third goal, lovely one. Albert Adoma played down the left-hand side, and the ball at the near post put in by Lewis Grabban, who can't stop scoring since he moved to Aston Villa from a dismal period up at Sunderland. So it's Villa 3, Wolves 1.
This is the UK's biggest football debate.
Call
08085 909 693. Calls are free from mobiles and landlines.
Text 85058.
Text will be charged at your standard message rate. Or find us on social media. This is 606 on BBC 5 Live.
So here we go then. Lots of West Ham United fans calling us. Let's start with Steve and Andrew. Good evening, boys. Good evening. Right, Steve, you go first.
Yeah, I was there today. Didn't make it right through to the final whistle. Took my wife to the ground, but it ended up quite an aggressive, violent, nasty atmosphere to be at today. But the reason I was phoning in mainly was to say that I back the fans' right to protest. I don't condone them coming onto the pitch, but these working class men have been sold a dream that was never going to be there, and I back their right to protest. I think you can only fool some of the people some of the time, and these people have given up at that stadium. They gave us false promises, and they've got the right to protest, absolutely.
OK, let's get Andrew's view.
No, to have a march against your own football club is never going to end well. It's only going to bring negativity, and I think the only reason these guys went on the pitch today is because a little march that they was all going to go on was called off. So to make their own protest, and this was all pre-planned, was if we go a goal down, run on the pitch. And that's crazy. It's going to bring nothing but negativity.
I do think it brings negativity, absolutely. I mean, that was clear. We left before the end of the game because of the state of the place and everything that was going on around us. I mean, Gary Lineker's tweeted a picture of kids having to take refuge in the Burnley dugout, which is disgraceful. But at the end of the day, the owners have sold a dream that has turned into a nightmare, and you can't back the false promises and the type of thing that they said when they took over at the club. It was all completely wrong, and there's no going back now, and the fans are just completely disillusioned.
But that doesn't give you the right, though, Steve. That does not give you the right to protest on a Premier League football pitch.
Yeah, they shouldn't cross the line. They shouldn't cross the white line and go onto the pitch. One thing I would say was the stewarding today. You don't see a police officer at West Ham because of a dispute that's going on until you get to the train station after the game. And the stewarding today was Robbie. I think Robbie saw that. He saw them come onto the pitch, and there was one steward chasing one fan around. But he was on the pitch for 2 or 3 minutes. He could have been doing anything to those players today. Mark Noble ended up in a fight with one of them. But he was on the pitch for too long. The stewarding was abysmal today.
And the stewards just allowed him to climb back into the stand and walk off.
Correct, and some of the West Ham fans dealt with those fellas in their own way, which was understandable because they were disrupting what was a decent game at that point. But at the end of the day, these fans, the ones that went and protested and surrounded the director's box, they've got the right to do that. They absolutely have got the right to give those directors some stick because the stuff that they come out with on social media all of the time and the promises that they give is causing trouble, and it's causing the type of conflict that we've got today.
But don't you think that the protest was caused by the fans coming on? And if it would have stayed 1-0, I reckon we would have still turned it round and beat them today. But when the fans came on the pitch...
Was you at the game?
Yeah.
Because the first
we controlled the game for 60 minutes, and up until they scored, they weren't in the game.
But the same old thing happened at that stage.
This turned the players' heads. This reaction...
But the same old thing happened at that stadium. For half an hour, the fans were up for it, and everyone was trying to get going and get an atmosphere going, which the owners have been asking us to do. And then for half an hour, it goes dead. The atmosphere dies, and it looks like the away team are going to score a breakaway goal, and they do. And then the trouble, you're right, was already booked in for a march today. But the stewarding was abysmal. I didn't see a police officer until I got to the station after the game. And there was no police around. There's some dispute going on, and it's not a safe place to be.
Well, I think the fans have made it negative. If you look at any football club that's been moved to a new stadium and look at their statistics, some even get relegated. It takes at least 2 years. And the fans and the negativity on social media has made it 100 times worse.
Boys, can you just clear this up for us? You're saying there was no police officer in the ground today?
They don't police the London Stadium.
Right, okay, but
West Ham don't own the ground.
Okay, but there will be people listening to this and saying, well, what about if one of your rivals came to play you at the London Stadium? So when Chelsea get to play West Ham United, are you saying there are no police officers in the ground?
No, they have to ask permission. There was police at the West Ham Chelsea game once this season in a cup game.
That's right.
But no, there's no police. There's no police in the ground at all.
No. It was unsafe. It's unsafe. There were kids taking refuge in the Burnley dugout. It's been tweeted all over the place.
We've had a couple of statements in, by the way. Boys, have a listen to this. West Ham United have given us a statement, have immediately launched a full and thorough investigation into the incidents which marred the second half of today's match. We are committed to taking decisive and appropriate action. An emergency meeting has been called with all London Stadium stakeholders. There will be no further comment at this time. And an FA statement on the West Ham trouble. The FA strongly condemns the crowd disturbances seen today in the match between West Ham United and Burnley. We will be seeking observation from West Ham United and we will await the match referee's report. So 08085 909 693 if you are at the stadium today. Thank you to Steve and to Andrew. We've got Frankie on the line, Rob.
All right, Frankie.
Hello, boys.
All right.
Where do I start? Robbie and Jason, where do I start? You know what? We signed a £75 million player today, mate. You know what? And you know that I'm a barber as well. I cut people's hair. I'm surprised the customer I left his hair on today. Listening to the game on the radio and all that. Robbie, Jason, I think Jurgen Klopp, you know what? He's run out of ideas. I don't understand one thing about him. He played Milner today in centre midfield with Emre Can. So you've got a tortoise and a snail. Lukaku today just bullied Lovren and Van Dijk. we've got a £75 million player here, mate, and you can't handle this. I know we were playing Manchester United, but I don't understand his tactics. Mane, for probably the last 6 or 7 weeks, right? Every time, today he done one decent cross in the whole game. Why can't he just, you know what I mean? Firmino, like, I know he's been playing week in, week out, right? Bring on Solanke. Do you know what I mean? Change it up a bit. Salah today was struggling. You know what I mean? Make the changes in the second half. You're 2-0 down. You don't make the changes. When he put on the lineup, yeah, it changed the game slightly, yeah? And all this. But he's run out of ideas, Robbie. Do you know what? We went out to it. I know when we played West Brom and we went out in the FA Cup, I was going to go out with my wife that night, which I did. She goes, don't ring up 606 because at the end of the day, we're not going to go out otherwise because you're going to be in a bad mood. I was fuming. But I went out with my lovely wife for a nice meal and I thought, yeah, lovely. But you know what? She goes, babe, wait until the next game. I went, yeah, because I'll tell you one thing, babe. I'm not being funny, but under Jurgen Klopp, we ain't winning nothing, Bobby. Listen, we are going to go into next season, mate, right, with him, right? I want him out, and I want a different manager to come in, right, because he doesn't seem to have no plan B or C. He played Milner at left back, yeah, before Robertson, yeah, and he puts today in before. He's got Wijnaldum, yeah, put some legs in there, but the defence again today, right, when you're coming up against Man United, mate, and Lukaku bullied Van Dijk, that's a £75 million player. The club just paid £75 million for a player, right, which they couldn't even mark, right? And that's what I don't understand. And Klopp, it doesn't matter how Mourinho's come out and given a statement and said that it was a team performance, yeah, but we had the possession in the first 10 minutes, and then Rashford scored a wonderful goal and this and the other. And I think Rashford started today, and that's good news for England. But but this is what Liverpool's all about, Robbie. And I'll tell you one thing, mate. I think Klopp has run out of ideas, mate. He hasn't got no plan B or C, and I've said this all along, mate. We ain't going to win nothing under him. There's no point of us being all Liverpool fans saying, yeah, well, he's bringing us forward.
Frankie, wait there. Frankie, stay there. Let's bring in Aaron, the Manchester United fan. Aaron, Frankie wants Klopp out.
Do you know what? I got my violin out listening to this Frankie bloke. Do you know what? Whinging. I'm not being horrible.
I'm not whinging, mate. At the end of the day, right, Mourinho today played Rashford, yeah? Right, okay, and he had a fantastic game, yeah? But Mourinho, every time he comes out and gives the right statement. But you tell me in the Stretford end, with all them season tickets holders are at Manchester, right, are they happy with Mourinho? That's the first time today Man United have played well against Liverpool. And fair play to you guys. You won the game, yeah? But I guarantee you, Rashford will be dropped in his next game against Sevilla.
Against Sevilla? Do you know what? I'm not worried, because do you know what?
What? Why should you be worried?
Our back four had your front three in their pockets.
I know
they couldn't even kick a ball. It took Bailly to pull it in his own net to get me that excited. Yeah. I jumped down my seat.
But in the second half, mate, this is what I'm saying. In the second half, mate, at the end of the day, Man United sat back and this and the other. We never even got an equaliser to make it 2-2. But at the end of the day, mate, you guys under Mourinho, mate, I know you won the Europa League under him in the first season and you won the League Cup and this and the other. But can you honestly say to me, as a true Man United fan, yeah, are you happy with the football that you played under Mourinho? And today is the only performance that you put in against Liverpool. You couldn't put in that performance against Manchester City, could you?
Well, we'll wait and find out the 7th of April.
Oh, really? Well, at the end of the day, we're the only club that has actually beaten Man City.
My point is, I'm looking forward to the Seville game because you struggled against them. You can beat them over 2 games.
But at the end of the day, mate, we've got 1 foot. We're already in the quarterfinals. Yeah, I know. We lost against a good Sevilla side that actually you have to pay respect to them because they won. They actually won 2 Europa League trophies on the trot. But you're not playing against the same Sevilla side that we played because they sold about 4 or 5 of their players. But you actually drew with them, and you've got players in your team where your manager has actually spent so much money. But at the end of the day, mate, I bet you Man United wish that you played some of the football that we played this season, mate, when it's exciting football. But you've got one manager that knows how to do tactics. Yeah, you've had so many draws. We've lost to the bottom end of the league. But at the end of the day, mate, we are so far behind both clubs, behind Manchester City, and we're talking about the Man United and Man United Liverpool game. I don't care about the Man United Liverpool game. I'm talking about how the club's got to move forward to catch Manchester City. Because at the end of the day, mate, we're both about 20 points behind City. And I think in Manchester, I think the Red Devils, or what you call yourselves, yeah, I'm sure all the Stretford End boys, all the real Manchester United fans are very happy the way they're playing under Mourinho.
I'm very happy under Mourinho.
Oh, really?
If you want to be honest, I won 2 trophies last season.
This man has spent so much money. Every club Mourinho's got into, right, he's had money to spend and this, that, and the other, right? All I know is one thing about Mourinho, yeah, it will bring you trophies and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, mate, we all be hot. We need to catch Manchester City because I'm not aiming to finish above United. I'm aiming about my club finishing and challenging for titles. And Manchester City at the moment, mate, they are so far ahead of your club as well as my club. I'm not looking for second or third place. I want top spot, mate.
You're not going to get it, so I won't worry about it.
What do you mean I won't worry about it? Well, you're telling me, mate, so you're quite happy to finish second behind Manchester City, are you?
This season, I'm happy with second place and a trophy because we're going to win the FA Cup anyway.
What? So the money that Mourinho has spent and the money that Guardiola has spent, you're telling me you're 17 or 16 points behind him, yeah? And we're probably further behind him and all that. And you're telling me that's a good season for Man United when you're finishing 20 points behind Manchester City? Mate, you're delusional, mate. At the end of the day, you ask any Man United fan if that's the gap between Manchester City and Man United and the rest of the teams. You know what I do? Manchester City are winning the title, yeah? And the rest of us are playing second, third and fourth place in the league. And that's Manchester United. Under Sir Alex Ferguson, it wasn't like that, mate. It wasn't like that, mate.
Pogba, Matic, Sanchez, Lukaku,
done nothing.
Any other player.
What? But Pogba hasn't moved. Listen, they said that they got Pogba back for all that money, yeah? But at the end of the day, did he move Man United forward? I haven't even seen one performance by Pogba in the league. I haven't seen Sanchez, right? You signed him for all that money, right? At the end of the day, today, you know who won you the match today? I'll tell you who won you the match today, Lukaku and Rashford. Because at the end of the day, Lukaku put in Van Dijk, who was a £75 million defender, who couldn't even handle him, and you had Rashford. He starts his first game, and he scores 2 cracking goals. And that's Mourinho, is it? And he goes, he's a great team forward. Why don't you ask Mourinho the performance that he's put in, the players that are put in against all the other teams, right? And at the end of the day, they're 20 points behind Manchester City. And that's Mourinho.
So at Chelsea, so at Tottenham, so
No, we're not talking about Chelsea and Tottenham, mate. We're talking about Man United here. You are just as much behind Manchester City, and we are. Oh, you're 4 points ahead of us, or 5 points, wherever it is. I haven't even looked at the league because I know that you're ahead of us. But in the day, we're still behind Manchester City.
Right, guys, you've got to stop me there. Right. Listen, thank you, Andrew and Frankie. Thank you so much. Listen, you might meet in the Champions League quarterfinals. Who knows, Jason?
Just before Frankie, just before you go, Frankie, right? Yeah, did you say that your wife said, don't call 606 because you'll never get out?
Oh, mate,
Did she say that? Because
I had a customer that actually come into, actually spoke to me and he goes, when Liverpool lost to West Brom,
yeah.
He goes, apparently you were mentioned on the radio. And I said, I couldn't ring up because I was going out with my wife tonight.
What we were going to say was, what Robbie and I were going to say.
I wanted to speak to you two guys because you two guys have a fantastic show. And this is what it's all about, Robbie and Jason.
Yeah.
It's about the passion and everything else. But at the end of the day, there's only one number one team in the Premiership at the moment, mate, to catch, and it's Man City.
Yeah, no, you said that. But what I was going to say, Frankie, what Robbie and I were going to say to you was this, is that she was absolutely right, because when you phone 606, you've got no chance of going out. You've been talking for 11 minutes. Thank you, Frankie. Thank you very much indeed. Nice to talk to you. Right, Robbie, do you want Dylan or do you want Andrew? We've got a Southampton fan or a West Ham fan. Robbie, do you want next?
Let's have Dylan first.
Okay, Dylan, off you go.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Welcome.
Hi, Dylan.
Welcome.
Hey, good stuff. I was at the game today. I've been going from 22. I've been going for 15, 16 years. Got a home season ticket. And I believe there was a couple of guys on earlier who were thinking that what happened today with the fans was justifiable. And I mean, I thought it was absolutely despicable, to be honest. Absolutely outrageous. I mean, when you go 1-0 down, bearing in mind we'd done all right for an hour.
So
that was their first shot on target. You do that, you mess up the players' concentration. They've got a game head on. They're focused on a game. You have people running onto the pitch. These people, right? Bearing in mind there's 50,000 people in there. They could have anything on them, right? With this day and age, unfortunately, people carry stuff around. It's not great, but they could have had anything on them at any point. That messes up the concentration of the players. And 50 seconds, 60 seconds later, we conceded the second goal, and it was a shambles. They literally walked the ball around us. It was like a training exercise. I feel for people like Noble who've had to come out, as the captain and the fan of a club, and defend us in a way, because that was indefensible. There's 50,000 people there. Some of them are die-hard fans. They're not what I'd consider a fan. They're not what I would consider a fan. There was less than 10 people that invaded that pitch today out of 50,000 odd. There was a little bit of infighting going on in the ground. Now, what happened with one of those is one of the guys got on the pitch, managed to get past the steward and back up in the crowd. People tried to hold him, right? And he then started kicking off. This kind of thing's absolutely outrageous, especially for a football club like ours. We're proud supporters. We love our club, but it does stem from the top. We don't see effort in our eyes, enough effort from the players. West Ham fans, we don't care if we win, lose, draw, whatever, as long as we see the shirt being worn properly. We know we're not going to win the league. We know we're not going to get into Europe. We know we're not going to be competing at the minute at the top end of the table because we're not spending on the players. We can't compete with the likes of City, of course, or United because of the financial side. But for the rest of the teams, from maybe 4th, 5th down to 10th, that's likely where we could potentially be. But not with the attitude of the fans today. You go 1-0 down, you support your club. You go 1-0 down, you support your club. You don't turn on them. You can't turn on them. How can you call yourself a supporter if you're not supporting them? It was absolutely, 15, 16 years, barring one Millwall game, I've never seen anything quite like it, to be honest, and I hope I don't.
And the other thing you don't do, Dylan, is you certainly don't run onto the pitch. Good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. That's Dylan, a West Ham fan. Do give us a call if you want to have your say on West Ham United, 08085 909 693. And let's go to John Southall at Stamford Bridge, because Palace have had a goal disallowed. For what, John?
Well, we're just watching it again now. I think there's a couple of things it could have been for. A foul by Kelly on Christensen or a high boot by Redeveld. I think it was pretty harsh. It was Sorloth who smashed the ball in. That would have been his first goal for the club, and that would have given us a really tasty final 3 minutes. Chelsea lead by 2-0. Just been getting a bit fiery as well in the last few minutes. Christensen and Alonso have been having a spat with Tompkins. Tompkins has just been booked, but as it stands, it looks like Chelsea will be moving to within 2 points of Tottenham in 4th place. They lead Palace by 2-0.
John, thank you very much indeed. Straight to Peter Slater. What a goal, Peter.
What a goal. Fine individual goal from a man who'd only been on the field a number of minutes. Birkir Bjarnason, an Icelandic player, raced through a couple of tackles and fired the ball in from the edge of the penalty area to make it Villa 4, Wolves 1. And Jason, I said earlier on to you, I think we thought the crowd was going to be round about 40,000. We've just had the official attendance. This is for a championship game, 37,836. Most of them Villa fans, and they're thrilled. Villa 4, Wolves 1.
Amazing. And what a race to the top of the championship now. Wolverhampton Wanderers, they're now 4-1 down at Villa Park, which means they're just 3 points clear of Cardiff City in second. And then there's Fulham chasing as well. Robbie, what a race this is.
Yeah, it is in the championship, Jay. Do you know what? I was watching the game at lunchtime, United against Liverpool. And I watched Manchester United go to Sevilla and get a 0-0 draw. Mourinho was hammered, yeah? Mm-hmm. I seen Spurs go out of the Champions League in midweek, 1-0 up against Juve, lost 2-1, went out, yeah?
Yep.
And I'm thinking to myself, if that's Mourinho, he gets absolutely hammered. Yes, you can argue that he spent quite a lot of money at Manchester United, but everybody seems to love Spurs at the minute. There's no criticism towards them. Mourinho, his team this season, I think they're 7 points clear of Spurs. They've scored more goals. They've conceded fewer. They've got a chance to get into the FA Cup semi-final against Brighton, and they could go into the quarter-final of the Champions League. Yet, Mourinho gets hammered for negative football, whereas Pochettino, who's done a good job at Spurs, gets linked with Real Madrid. How?
Yeah, no, it's a very good point.
There's been a goal for Palace, Jason.
Yes, goal!
Yes, it has. Chelsea 2, Crystal Palace 1. We are up to the 90th minute of the game. Van Aanholt is second in 2 games, unmarked, left of the area, underneath Courtois and into the net. Let's wait and see how many minutes we have added on, because Palace are finishing this game really strongly. Chelsea 2, Palace 1.
JJ, that's fair or not?
Yeah, no, I get you. So what you're saying is then Jose Mourinho gets criticised for playing dull, negative, boring football, but wins matches.
Winning football.
Yeah, and Pochettino blows the opportunity. Let's face it, they blew their opportunity, didn't they? They did all the hard work in Italy, and then they go a goal up at Wembley.
Say, Jay, if Mourinho was in charge of that Spurs side and they went 1-0 up, I think they would have got through to the next round.
So they close shop and then they're through to the next round.
Just my opinion.
Do you agree with Robbie? Spurs fans, 08085 909 693. We really should talk to Andrew, who wants to talk Southampton. Hello, Andrew.
And gents, how you
Hi,
doing?
good evening.
Hi, Andrew.
Yeah, we're good, thank you. What do you want to say, Andrew?
I just want to talk about, I know Robbie every week loves to go on about Southampton fans and Claude Puel and what we thought of him, etc., etc. Well, you know, for me, it's irrelevant what fans thought of Puel. He finished 8th in the league, as you love pointing out, got to a cup final and got fired. Okay? The board made that decision. The fans didn't make that decision. He got fired. So now I'm wondering, why on earth Pellegrino's still got a job? Where are we? We're 28 points, after 30 games this season. We scored 29 goals this season, and he's still got a job. What on earth do the board see in him to keep him in his role? For me, it's too late in the season now almost for anyone to come in and save the day. But let's not talk about Claude Puel. Let's talk about Pellegrino. What has he done this season as Southampton manager that gives him the right to still be manager of our football club? When you think of some of the other clubs that are down and around us in the table, they're clubs with the greatest of respect to them that we should be, with the money we've spent, with the time we've spent in the Premier League. We should be far and away from where we are in the table, and yet we're sat where we are, and Pellegrino's still our manager. And this hasn't been a gradual slide. This hasn't happened overnight. This has happened, well, probably the second half of last season. I don't know, we scored 40-odd goals last season. We've only scored 29 this season. It's not been a gradual thing. This is, you know, the board just need to wake up, and they have got so many plaudits over the years, and rightly so, for us coming up from League One and doing what we did. But yet we sit here now and we're on this slide. We're sleepwalking into the Championship. I think we've drawn 13, 14 games this season. If we just had a manager who occasionally went for it, just gave it a little bit, you know, went for games when we were ahead, the likes of Crystal Palace at home, Huddersfield at home, when we're leading in games, you're better off winning half your games and losing half your games than drawing 12 or 13. You get more points if you win half and lose half of those. It's so frustrating that we always go back. Claude Puel, what do you think of him? I couldn't care less. I could not care less. But he was fired when he finished 8th in the league. He was fired when he finished 8th in the league. So why is Pellegrino still our manager?
I get you.
How are the board justifying that?
I get your point, Andrew. But going back to Puel, would you have kept him then? I know you're not on the board. Would you have kept Puel?
Well, again, you have to bear in mind, last season we finished 8th in the table.
46 points was yeah, I get that.
Yeah. The season before we finished 6th with 63 points. Yep. So from a fan's point of view, and again, we scored 59 goals in 15-16. We scored 41 goals last year.
So as a fan, would you have kept Puel?
As a fan, would I have kept Puel? No, I wouldn't have kept Puel. Okay? And I appreciate that he's done a good job at Leicester, and fair play to him. I've got no problem with that. But it's easy to make a decision in hindsight. But what I'm saying to you is the board there have set their benchmarks. Okay? 8th in the league, 46 points wasn't good enough. So what's Pellegrino done to keep a job? That's what I want to know.
And you know, at this stage of the season, Andrew, when people start talking about we need 5 wins, I'm looking at your fixtures right now, and the very fact that you've got Arsenal, you've got Chelsea, and Manchester City is your last game of the season. If you need 3 points to stay in the league, I'm just wondering whether any Southampton fans listening tonight think maybe you may be joining West Bromwich Albion in the Championship next year. 08085 909 693. John Southall all over.
It is. Chelsea have won by 2-1 against Crystal Palace, but they were hanging on at the end. That goal from Patrick Van Aanholt on 90 minutes gave us a really tense final 3 minutes for Chelsea. He scored from the left of the area under Courtois, and then you have to look back to a few moments before that when Sorloth had a goal disallowed for Palace, and you have to wonder why it was disallowed. Possibly Riedewald with a high foot. I'm sure Roy Hodgson will have a few things to say about that, but ultimately 2 goals in the first half won the game for Chelsea, both coming off Martin Kelly on their way in. First deflecting in a Willian shot, 5 goals in 5 games now for Willian. The second, Zabakosta's shot on the right, hit Kelly, deflected onto Hennessy, back off Hennessy's head, onto Kelly and into the net. It sums up Palace's evening. No wins in 7 for them now. They'll take positives from this. Wilfried Zaha back for them. Chelsea, though, tougher tests will lie ahead. Next up, Barcelona at the Nou Camp on Wednesday night. Chelsea 2, Palace 1.
Peter, thank you very much indeed. It's 4-1 still to Villa at Villa Park. They've got 3 minutes left there in added time. Very tough times for Crystal Palace. If you're a Palace fan and you're leaving the ground right now, you may be listening to 5 Live. Give us a call, 08085 909 693. They're well in it now, aren't they, Robbie? Crystal Palace?
Yeah, but you look at their running, Jay. You know, Crystal Palace, they've got Bournemouth, Brighton, Watford, Leicester, Stoke, West Brom last game of the season.
Yeah.
I think if you're Crystal Palace, you know, and everybody's fit, I think they'll get out of it with those fixtures. So I think that, looking at the bottom sides, you've just mentioned Southampton, Crystal Palace run of fixtures, the games they can easily get something out of.
This is Chris who says, I completely agree with Robbie Jason. He's absolutely spot on about Jose. Couldn't agree more. If anyone else gets a draw at Anfield, like Jose did earlier in the season, they'd be praised to the heavens. Great win today. Hashtag MUFC. Chris, thank you very much indeed. Peter Slater, how long left?
Got about a minute of stoppage time left, Jason. It's not going to change the result because Villa are leading by 4 goals to 1. Some of the people already making their way out of the ground with 37,800 inside Villa Park. I think the traffic's going to be fun. It's a game Villa actually had to win. They're back up to 3rd now. They've leapfrogged Fulham, who'd leapfrogged them earlier in the afternoon. They're just 4 points behind Cardiff, and now significantly just 7 behind Wolves. Can Wolves be caught? But it was 1-1 at half-time here. Adoma for Villa, Jota for Wolves. But Villa won it in a 5-minute spell either side of the hour. James Chester from a Snodgrass free kick, and then Lewis Grabban, his 4th in 4 consecutive games, converting Adoma's cross at the near post. The icing on the cake, and I think you saw it as well on the screen, came 5 minutes from time. Super individual effort from Birkir Bjarnason, the Icelandic substitute. Only been on the field for 10 minutes, so 31 points out of 36 for Villa. It's been a great occasion, great performance by every single player on that side. I'd like to single out Jack Grealish. He's had a terrific game, and there's the final whistle blown by the referee, David Coote. Villa have beaten Wolves by 4 goals to 1.
Yeah, so just recap, Peter, thank you very much indeed. We got Wolves top on 76 points. Then we got Cardiff on 73 points. Aston Villa go 3rd on 69. Fulham on 68 in 4th. What a race to get to the Premier League. That is going to be absolutely terrific. 08085 909 693 for you Villa fans leaving the ground right now. Let's go to Jason, who wants to talk United. Manchester United, that is. Hi, Jace.
Hi, boys.
You must be delighted.
Absolutely delighted. Before the game, I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but I just thought Mourinho got his tactics spot on. And I think, the media loving with Klopp, I think, is a bit too much. I think Mourinho gets too much criticism when I think it's a bit hard done by. And I thought today the back 4 were brilliant. Smalling and Bailly were absolutely brilliant. And I think Smalling gets another one who gets a lot of criticism, but I don't think there was much difference between those two today in the Juventus defenders. Their bodies on the line were fantastic. And I just thought we didn't have the space for the front 3. Salah just couldn't get on the ball. We crowded him out. And I thought we beat the press by just going long to Lukaku, who the last few weeks has been absolutely brilliant. He held it up and he's been using his strength to bring in Rashford. I just thought Mourinho got his tactics spot on, and I just wonder if the media and everyone else will give him the credit that he deserves for that.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Beat the press. You know, the 2 goals have come from long, that straight balls to Lukaku, who's won the flick on first for Rashford, who cut inside. You know, and great finish from the youngster. And then the second, you know, it was, again, a straight ball. So I think you're completely right that Mourinho tactically was spot on today. The first half performance was good. And people will criticise him because he's Jose Mourinho, part of the bus. I didn't see much bus parking in that first half. Yet, because he's Jose Mourinho, he will get some sort of criticism But it's ridiculous. I look at Klopp, and yeah, have I enjoyed watching Liverpool this season? Yes. Have I enjoyed watching Spurs this season? Yes. But the big question is, Jose Mourinho wins trophies. And in this country so far, Pochettino and Klopp have not yet to win nothing. But they seem to get all the praise, whereas a winner in Jose gets hammered.
And Jose he reflected on that as well, Robbie, in his interview today. And Jason, did you hear his interview that he gave afterwards to the BBC? He can't resist having a nibble sometimes, Mourinho. And he said, and this is a direct quote, I wrote it down when we ran it on the TV, and he said, the press are never tired to say how good they are. By they, he means Liverpool, Jason, suggesting that maybe the media and the press have gone over the top on not so much Manchester City, because we know they have been terrific, on Liverpool and on Spurs. So maybe Robbie's got a point, Jason.
Yeah, it is. Robbie is correct. And I think the problem is it's Man United, and obviously the media, Man United is the biggest club in the world, so obviously we're going to get talked about the most. I think the criticism has been maybe right in some ways. I just think it has been over the top, and you're right. And I think also with Marcus Rashford, he's a young talent, and he's been superb for the start of the season. He had a little blip, as young players do, but I think Mourinho took him out of the firing line, and I think he's come in now and he's so fresh. He came on against Crystal Palace and he changed the game, and today, absolutely brilliant. So I just think Mourinho was right using Rashford a bit more sparingly, and then now has reintroduced him into the team. And for the biggest week of our season, just getting the win today, first half was obviously just about getting the early 2 goals, and then second half, yeah, we did defend deep. But against the Liverpool team, that is the way to play Liverpool. If you push up high up the pitch, they'll do you on the counter-attack. But today, I think we got it spot on, and now we've got Seville on Tuesday, which is probably the biggest game of our season, because that's what we've got to do in the Champions League. And if we can perform like we did today, then there's no reason why we can't get to the quarterfinals, and then you never know.
Do you think you can win it?
Look, Mourinho won it with Porto and Inter Milan, so you can't say no. And it is the Champions League. It's a knockout competition. No way are we one of the best teams in it, but it just depends on your draw. We've got to get through Seville first, and then we get to the quarterfinals. And really, Mourinho over 2 legs, you wouldn't count against him. You just wouldn't. I'd say City probably are the favourites for it. They're probably the best team in Europe, and I hate to say that, but it's probably right. And even Liverpool have a chance. It's a knockout competition. You just don't know. Do I think we'll win it? No. But, if we get to the semi-final, I'll be happy with that.
Yep. Robbie, we had a good discussion about the Champions League. Yeah, great call, Jason. Robbie, we had a brief discussion about the Champions League. Who do you think? Now, we've seen some teams get through to the quarter-final, and now Spurs are out. If I was to ask you tonight, who's going to win the Champions League? Who are you going for?
If they stay apart in the draw, Man City, Real Madrid final. I thought Real Madrid was so impressive in that second game at PSG, Jay. They know how to win the competition. They've got winners in their side. They've been there, they've done it, back-to-back Champions League. And they were brilliant against PSG in that second game. But if I was saying right now, I would say Manchester City. What a Man City Real Madrid final would be a fantastic.
Amazing
final.
So 08085 909 693. Let's have a little bit of fun tonight on 606. Who do you think will win the Champions League? Before we go to the news, should just bring you this. This is a Premier League statement which has just been issued to us here at the BBC on the West Ham United Burnley match today. The Premier League say it is essential that everyone who plays or attends a Premier League football match can do safely. There is no place at any level of the game for what happened at the London Stadium. While the official investigation of the incidents will be carried out by the FA, we'll be asking our own questions of West Ham United about what happened this afternoon, especially to ensure similar events never ever reoccur. We would like to commend the referee Lee Mason and his team of officials for their actions which, combined with the cooperation of the players and the coaching staff from both clubs, West Ham United and Burnley, enabled the match to be completed. So that's a Premier League statement just coming into us here at 5 Live on the West Ham United v Burnley incident.
This is the UK's biggest football debate. This is 606 with Robbie Savage and Jason Mohammed on BBC 5 Live.
Right, do keep your calls coming. 08085 909 693. Welcome back to 606. And Robbie, we've just been hearing about the West Ham United Burnley match and that statement that's just coming into us from the Premier League. As a player, Rob, ever in your career, did you ever experience any fans running onto the pitch, any unsavoury scenes?
Yeah, I did on one occasion. It was in the Blackburn v Burnley game at Turf Moor. It was a lunchtime kickoff and a fan run on the pitch. and very aggressive towards me, put his fists up, and, you know, I thought, what do I do here? I didn't know if he had anything in his hand. I didn't know what he was going to do. So it's a very scary moment. That's where a player should feel is safest on the football pitch. Luckily for me, my teammates, you know, stepped in between. Nothing happened. But for that split second, you're thinking, is he going to punch me? Is he carrying anything? You know, it's very, very intimidating and scary. And luckily for me, nothing happened. But yeah, you should, Jay, feel safe on the pitch. And on that occasion, I panicked. I didn't know what to do. You know, if you strike a fan because you're intimidated, because you think he might do something to you, then you'll get punished. So it's a very difficult situation for a player.
OK, well, we'll go back to the lines very shortly, but let's just play you the interview that Mark Noble gave to the BBC a short time after the final whistle and his version of events.
First and foremost, I'm a human being. You know, I'm a footballer. I know I'm out on the pitch, but and we're under obviously cameras and scrutiny all the time. But if someone's approaching me, I'm going to protect myself for sure. And so are a lot of other players. I mean, it's a big surface area to police out there, and the security obviously couldn't do that. But as I said, we are human beings, and the crowd, the fans weren't happy. That was clear. I think no matter what happened today, they was planning on doing something anyway, it seemed to me. But as soon as we were 1-0 down with a lot of time to go, the atmosphere turned, and you could tell that enough was enough with them.
So you felt in danger when supporters ran on the pitch?
Well, not in danger. I wouldn't say in danger as such. But you know what I mean. You never know in this world. And I've been at this club for a long, long time, and I'm a West Ham fan myself. And I've always protected them. But if someone approaches me on the pitch, I'm going to protect myself, full stop.
You said yourself, Mark, that there is this air of unrest around the football club at the moment. Do you have any sympathy at all with the supporters that aren't happy with what's happening at the minute?
I mean, listen, I think it's been the last probably 2 seasons, really. You know, since we've moved to the stadium, it's been a little bit. Every time we lose a game, we get a lot of stick, and the board get a lot of stick, and I think you could tell today that the fans have had enough. I think that's what it looked like that out there to us, and they wanted to show their emotion. And as I said, winning football games is all that matters for football clubs now. And when you ain't winning, and especially when the fans probably come to the game, and not all of them, I must say, not all of them come to the game. With the ump anyway, and when it goes wrong, West Ham fans know how to show their emotions.
The 1-0 lead quickly became 2-0. It's easy to jump to the conclusion that what happened after the first goal affected the players' concentration. Do you think there is anything in that?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. The atmosphere was horrible. Obviously, we've had fans run on the pitch, and we know, to be honest, we know a lot of it ain't aimed at the players. It's other reasons, but we've got to be men enough to be able to play in that atmosphere. It's hard, don't get me wrong, especially when you've got 60,000 here, and a big percentage of them are not happy with how the club is. So the players out there take the brunt of it.
You're in a real relegation scrap at the moment, Mark, as you well know. You've got 8 games left. 5 of those are at home. Now, normally you'd say, well, that's an advantage, but is it a disadvantage?
Well, do you know what I'm really hoping? I'm really hoping that the fans today have got a lot off their chest, hopefully. That, listen, they're a true, honest, passionate bunch of people. I know that I've played in front of them for 15 years or whatever. So I'm hoping today that they've had that outburst, hopefully.
That's a very strong interview from Mark Noble.
Well, I think he's got it right when he's a human being. I think he's first and foremost, yes, he's a footballer, a good footballer, loves West Ham, but he's a human being, Jason. If somebody approaches you on the football pitch, your instincts take over, don't they? Do you know what I mean, Jay?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah. No, I'm listening to you.
Yeah, all right, sorry. They do, and it was worrying times. You could be a supporter, you see the frustration of the West Ham fans. You know, at times they have a go at their own players. So when a fan does approach you on the pitch, you don't know what's going to happen. And that instinct, you're not a West Ham footballer, you're a human being.
That club has to be better well policed. There is no way that ground should not be policed, or they should definitely have stewards there that can stop people from entering the field of play. Right, Lewis, you were there today, Lewis.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening to you. Right, you tell us what you saw, Lewis.
So I'm sat right behind the goal at the Bobby Moore lower. So I've got the view of the whole pitch in front of me. Obviously, the fans weren't happy, protesting in front of Golden Sullivan. Few players running onto the pitch, one with a corner flag, no need for that. He walks up, one of them walks up to Mark Noble, starts throwing fists, like, just calling him names. Fair play to Mark Noble for taking it into his own hands, because the stewards weren't there, they were just walking around. 2 fans went off into the stand, and then the stewards just walked after them. So fair play to Mark Noble for taking them down. And if he's that passionate for the shirt, he would do that because he would want to carry on playing, and he would just want to help the team out, keep the morale high. But the fans weren't keeping the morale high. Probably got on his back a little bit, especially when the fan ran onto the pitch. So, probably a little bit angry with him, the fan that ran on. But I'm still saying, well done for Mark for doing that.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but Mark said in the interview for 60 minutes, West Ham were in control of the game. They should have gone ahead in the first half. Arnautovic had a good shot saved by Pope, and then Lanzini should have scored. West Ham were comfortable in that opening 45 minutes. As soon as Burnley scored, that was it. That was it, Jay. The fan were on the pitch, and it was like, wow. It was intimidating, and it was a disgrace in the end. Let's be honest, a total disgrace. And I know a previous fan said about in front of Mr. Gold and Mr. Sullivan, but the anger and the hatred towards those 2 gentlemen, listen, it's their football club. I'm led to believe, knowing Mr. Gold and Mr. Sullivan, as I do from my time at Birmingham, correct me if I'm wrong, they're West Ham fans. Yeah? Hello?
Lewis?
Yeah.
Lewis, are they fans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are West Ham fans.
I would say so.
I might be completely wrong, but my understanding is they wear. I'm not sure, but somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. And so for fans to vent their frustration, their anger with the hatred I was seeing in their eyes, I think it's ridiculous.
Fans have always done that, Robbie.
I do get that, Jason.
Fans have always, if the team stops playing, whether it's West Ham United or if there's a team in Championship League 1, League 2, or back in the day it was Division 4.
But the hatred, Jay. The hatred.
Well, I mean,
and it was
it's
1-0.
A passionate club. It's a passionate football club, Robbie.
As Lewis will say, it was 1-0. And, who knows, West Ham might have got back in the game. But as soon as the second went in, and then Joe Hart's mistake for the third... Wow.
Lewis, there's a big talking point here, isn't there, Lewis, right? Because there are fans tuning in to this football show tonight who are not West Ham United fans, but they will be genuinely concerned about the security. So let's just move it away from West Ham United at the moment. I can't get my head round, I'm sure the listeners can't get their heads round, the fact that the stewarding, it sounds so bad.
Poor tonight. There was all them fans in front of Mr. Gold and Mr. Sullivan's box. I was in the train station. I heard one fan say that was it Mr. Sullivan that was crying. That's despicable. They shouldn't be protesting like that. They shouldn't be doing that. And the stewarding, they all walked over, just stood there. They didn't separate them anything. They didn't send them back to their seats. There was no police involved. The only time the police got involved was at the end of the match to separate the two, so the team's boxes where the subs wait from the fans. That was the only time the police got involved. But I'm led to believe that the police are nothing to do with Golden Sullivan or the club itself. It's to do with the council. But the stewarding tonight was poor.
Yeah. Have a listen to this. This is Paul on the text who says, on the way back from the London Stadium, we've had drunken idiots trying to climb over our 9-year-old boys to have a fight. Been highlighting the lack of protection in the family section for over 2 years, no action by the club, lack of security for the players on the pitch today. This was waiting to happen. West Ham are a club in disarray. I hope Gold and Sullivan are happy with their legacy. They are despised by a fan base whose club has completely gone.
Jay, the scenes I was seeing on the TV as well, there was parents taking kids out of the stadium. And that's the most shocking thing for me, that youngsters going to watch their idols play. You know, seeing that, you know, getting escorted from the stadium with their parents, and then Burnley, all credit to Burnley. I've seen pictures, I'm sure you have, Jason and Lewis, of some youngsters on the Burnley bench.
Yeah, saw those.
You know, fantastic gesture from. But this, what is the game coming to when that happens? It's nonsense.
Here's another very, very strong text from Alan, who says, situation toxic, ticking time bomb. Stewards paid for by the stadium. They're just kids in high-vis jackets, rudderless, just like the club. Everyone knew there would be trouble today. No police in the stadium. One fan runs on, got to the centre circle, then runs back into the stand, didn't get stopped. He got a bit of a slap from the West Ham fans, still no stewards. The whole thing is not being run very well whatsoever. Listen to this. I work at a train station serving the Olympic Stadium. To those who think this type of behaviour is isolated and unusual, I invite you to come and see the, in inverted commas, fans as they come through every match day. They intimidate, they insult anyone who gets in their way. And basically, I can't read out the next of it because the texter then goes on to describe the behaviour, and it's not very pleasant reading, and certainly not suitable for an evening show on live BBC radio. So I won't be reading the rest out, but it doesn't make good reading whatsoever. Lewis, we thank you for your call. Thank you very much indeed. Keep your chin up. West Ham United fans, let's hear from you. 08085 909 693. Lots of strong stuff coming in on your football club. Right, Ray's in Sussex. I think he wants to talk about Spurs. Hello, Ray.
Yeah, hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. I want to have a little pop at Robbie, actually, about the difference between Pochettino getting no stick and Mourinho getting stick.
Yeah.
For a start, Pochettino has never said he's a special one. Secondly, Spurs, you know, I'm a Spurs supporter. I'm 65 years old. I'm a Spurs supporter for years and years and years. And this is probably one of the best times we've had that I can remember, other than Bill Nicholson back in the 60s. Now, you know, when you look at our last 4 years since he's been there, Spurs supporters have actually got hope now. We can beat anybody. You know, we beat Real Madrid 3-1 at Wembley. We drew with them in the Bernabeu. We went over to Italy and played Juventus and come back 2-0 to draw 2-2. And he's playing with probably one of the youngest teams in the league. He has got nothing like the budget that Man United have got. Most of the players have come up through the academy. So he is the special one as far as I'm concerned, because he's playing. He's managing and coaching a team that, you know, most people admire watching at the moment. So to say that Mourinho shouldn't be getting any stick, Mourinho puts himself in the situation where he gets.
He's won 36 trophies, Mourinho, in his career.
Yeah. But
36.
Give Pochettino a chance, mate.
I am, mate. What I'm saying is,
no, you're not.
I don't think. Hang on, Ray. I don't think either should get stick. I think Pochettino has done a good job with Spurs.
He's done a wonderful job. He's done a fantastic job.
But my point is, why does Mourinho get so much stick when Manchester... Hang on, Ray.
He tells everyone he's a special one.
But he won 36 trophies. How many has Pochettino won?
Yeah, but never mind about what he has done. Not talk
Well,
about
of course you've got to take into consideration what he's done. He's won 36 trophies. He won the Champions League with Porto. He won the Champions League with Inter Milan.
This season, Robbie. We're talking about this season. This season,
7 points.
7 points. Yeah, but
he's done more than Pochettino this season. He has done more than Pochettino this season.
We're Bournemouth tomorrow, and if we win at Bournemouth, we will be 4 points behind United in second place, and we will go above Liverpool.
You won't be in second place.
So, I beg your pardon?
You won't be in second place.
No, we'll go above Liverpool.
You won't go above Manchester. We're talking about Mourinho. So you're saying
No, I'm just telling you where we will be tomorrow if we beat Bournemouth.
But my point is, Ray.
We've been playing in Europe since Pochettino's arrived. You've got Spurs fans that are standing up knowing that there's a good chance we're going to be in the Champions League while he's there. He's got to have time to get to his 34 trophies or whatever you talk about. You know, we're in the FA Cup. There's a good chance we could win that.
Yeah, there is.
So give the man a chance. He doesn't need any criticism.
So why does Mourinho then? Why does it seem that Potter... Ray, listen.
Mourinho puts himself in the position to be criticised.
Why does it seem to me that Pochettino, who has done a fantastic job, Ray, don't get me wrong.
Right.
Title challenge against Leicester, didn't win it. Title, when they were, up until last year, they were above Arsenal and then finished third behind Arsenal, didn't they? Or fourth, wherever it was. Last year, good season, yes. But you tell me then, why Mourinho, whose team this year have scored more goals, have conceded fewer, who might go into the quarter-final of the Champions League, who might on the weekend go into the semi-final of the FA Cup, and who are 7 points at this stage better off than Spurs, and a man, hang on, Ray, and a man who you said, Ray, hang on, and a man who you said called himself the special one, who's won 36 trophies in his career, gets so much stick where Pochettino doesn't seem to get any. That's the question I'm asking.
There was a guy on earlier that was talking about Man United fan, asking another Man United fan if he was happy with Mourinho, and none of them are. Let's be honest. They all look back to the Fergie days when they would win anything, under one manager, Fergie. I mean, you can't beat what that guy did. And Mourinho, the team don't play like they did under Fergie. They're fairly boring to watch, to be honest. They either park the bus, or like today, they went for it in the first half, but the second half, Liverpool were all over them. So Mourinho...
But they won. Man United won.
I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that Mourinho isn't successful. Of course he is. But when you compare him to Pochettino, there is no comparison.
Yeah.
Pochettino...
No comparison in what way?
Pochettino... Well, there's no comparison because Mourinho is better. Of course he is. He's won more trophies. But when you think that Pochettino went into Tottenham and in a time when we
did a great job.
We were the also-rans. Now we're not also-rans anymore. We've got a team there that we can beat anybody on the day.
Ray, there are lots of people, Ray. Ray, if you can just allow me just to come in and support your argument.
I agree with Ray. He's done a great job.
Let me just support your argument, Ray. Well, it's Nick, actually. Nick in London says this is laughable from Spurs hating Robbie Savage, trying to whip up a storm when there isn't one. He complains when fans come on your show, Jason, to ask for their manager to be sacked, and now does the opposite, wants Spurs fans to come on and slay Poch.
No, I don't.
Utter hypocrisy from Savage.
Jason, I don't. Nick. Jason, have you missed the point as well?
No, I'm reading out Nick's text.
Well, fair play to Nick. You're missing the point.
There you go.
What I'm saying is, I don't hate Spurs at all. I've stuck up for Spurs many times on this programme. I've stuck up for Spurs many times in articles. Yet, my point is...
Except when you were playing for Leicester in the...
Well, I don't really care about that, Ray, to be fair. My point is, why does the Spurs at this minute in time, by a few people in the media, in fact, a lot of media, why is Pochettino and Spurs, it seems to me, just my opinion, where they are immune from criticism, yet Mourinho, who, as I've stated, gets hammered... Manchester United go to Sevilla, right? Draw 0-0. Sevilla knocked off Atletico Madrid in Copa del Rey. They scored 3 against Liverpool in the Champions League at home. Yet United go, they get a 0-0 draw, yet they get hammered. Listen, United might lose.
Rob, this never happens, but I agree with you. I think
there's
a love-in. I think there's a love-in with Pep, with Poch, and with Klopp.
Yeah, Mourinho's got all those trophies, and he's a winner, gets hammered.
Mourinho and Wenger get it in the neck all the time. And Pep, do you remember when Pep come marching on the pitch?
Mourinho loves to be hated, doesn't he?
Pep comes on the pitch. Pep comes on the pitch, marching, barking at the referee at the FA Cup game. If that was Mourinho, he'd have been hammered.
Look at what he's doing, though. Look at where he is in the league.
Well, as Robbie says, Robbie's told you, Ray, he's winning trophies.
Ray, can I ask you a question? Ray, can I ask you a question? It's just a question. If you'd have been 1-0 up like you were against Juve the other night, 1-0 up, and Jose would have took over that team in the second half, do you think you'd be in the quarter-final?
No.
No, you don't?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Okay, so your opinion?
No.
Why?
Well, because we were beaten by a better team, and I don't think whoever he would have brought on wouldn't have made any difference. We were playing Juve, for Christ's sake. When we had the hardest draw in amongst all the English clubs.
But you were in the best position, though, Ray.
You had the hardest draw. You had the hardest draw.
Yeah, we did.
Juve.
Yeah.
So Chelsea had Barcelona, but you had a harder draw in Juve.
Yeah, but Chelsea were never going to do. But
I'm asking you a question, Ray. You just said you had the hardest draw, so you think your draw was harder than?
We did, yeah. Given that we're talking about Spurs,
mate, you were 1-0 up in the second leg at home. Juve had to score 2 to go through, or even.
And they did.
Caught us out in 3 minutes. Yeah, they did.
3 minutes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But there's a loving about Spurs at this minute in time, and I don't get. Listen, as I've said, Ray, I think Spurs under Pochettino have done brilliantly well. Absolutely fantastic. They're playing great football. Yeah, unquestionably. But
season after season.
Well, they haven't won now yet, have they?
No. Season after season, we've been playing great, attractive football.
But lost the league to Leicester. Lost the league to Leicester. Yeah. No.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'm just saying the fact. That's what I'm doing.
Well, I'm not arguing with you.
Okay.
Of course we did.
But you laughed you laughed as if I was talking nonsense. I'm just saying facts.
No, I didn't tell you.
Well, you do talk nonsense most of the time.
Yeah, you do actually. Yeah, actually.
But Ray, listen, it's a great debate, Ray. I'm glad you phoned.
It's a great debate.
It's a great call,
Ray, just before you go, listen to this.
Call, Ray.
Listen,
love it.
Ray, listen, just before you go. Go on, Ray. Yeah. Go on, Ray. You finish your point because I want to get Sue in Newcastle's text out.
I was at Wembley when we played you in the League Cup final.
You? Who's you? Oh, me? Yeah, Leicester. Yeah, and I was a disgrace.
We went down to 10. We went down to 10 men just before full time. I looked at my son and I said, "We ain't gonna. If this goes to extra time, we're knackered." And we got a goal just before the end. And you were playing in that game, and you were like your name, Savage.
Ray, let's finish on that. But listen, Ray, I've enjoyed the debate, Ray. Great. Ray, this is what 606 is all about. Debate, passionate caller like yourself, stick at it. And listen, been a pleasure.
I'm sure you're a lovely bloke, mate. All
right, I am, and you are.
Listen, Ray, before you go, Ray, can I just say, is it true our producers are telling us first time you've ever been on 606 tonight? Is that right?
Yeah, first time.
Oh, good man.
Ray, brilliant. Hey, listen, I loved it, Ray. But Ray, I've got to finish with this. You were talking nonsense.
Yeah, you had to get the last word.
Of course.
He always does. Sue in Newcastle, let's get this text in. Sorry, Sue, you texted this ages ago. I'm really sorry. Mourinho puts himself up for stick, Robbie, because of his arrogant attitude. He thinks he's special. His style of football is poor. And Robbie, just one simple question for you.
He's a winner.
One simple question. Sue's got a simple question for you. Answer Sue's question.
Yeah.
Robbie Savage, why do you always feel you have to defend him on 606?
Because I think it's unfair criticism. Because we're talking about, okay, maybe people say the Manchester United way they've got to play attractive football. Am I missing something here? He won 2 trophies last season.
Yeah, true.
He won 2 trophies last season and could win 2 more this year.
Okay.
Very unlikely.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing, the Spurs are great.
Okay. Well, let's put that question out. As you get ready for designated drivers, I'm going to put a question out.
Let's all speak about Spurs. Spurs are great. Brilliant. Well done, everybody.
Let's put this question out for the listeners. It's not all about you. Is there remedial loving with Pep, Klopp and Poch? 08085 909 693.
Hey, Pep's got the ball. Entertaining
football.
Pep
can do no wrong. As I said, he comes marching on the pitch, shouting all the odds. If Mourinho walked on the pitch and shouted the odds of the referee, he'd be in front of the FA.
Pep is unbelievable, Jay. What he's done for the Premier League.
But that doesn't mean he gets special treatment in how you can treat the referee. He comes steaming on the pitch, shouting the odds at the referee. If Mourinho or Wenger did that, he'd be in front of the FA beak before you know it.
Right,
is there remedial loving? What you got?
Oh, yeah. Hit it. Not the car sound.
This is 606. Robbie Savage's Designated Drivers on BBC 5 Live.
This is
Oh, don't call me baby. Love this tune.
Nathan, we've been to Villa Park tonight. Long trek from the east to see the big game. Thanks to Liam Jarman for driving us. Alan Sharp. Alan and Johnny let the train take the strain from Exeter to Dagenham to watch Tranmere Rovers this afternoon. Tony Meadows. It's been a big cup semi-final day for my daughter's under 10 Shrewsbury. Up and comers. Me equals driver and daughter equals winner. James Kenny. Shout out to Paul Crisp, who drives us from Brighton to Manchester for every match and deserves a mention on Designated Drivers. And Justine, Adrian Young has driven Sam Young, who is home from uni for Mother's Day, to Villa Park.
Madison Avenue, don't call me baby. So easy. James Madison scored a hat-trick today and lost 4-3, Norwich City. Easy, am I right?
I've got no idea.
Okay. Keith is in York. Hello, Keith.
Hello.
Is Keith there? Keith there, yeah. Let's have you, Keith, before the news. How are you, Keith?
I'm well, mate, thank you. I
Good.
spoke to you lads about 18 months ago about Liverpool. I'm a big Man U fan, and I did say to you that they would never, ever win the title unless they had a decent back four. Well, today you've seen the difference between one great centre-half and one muppet. Eric Bailey, how he didn't get man of match is just beyond me. An absolute monster performance and an unbelievable finish. and Lovren ragged about like a rag doll by Lukaku. Game over.
He's not a great centre-half by yet, is he? Not a great centre-half.
He's not great, Robbie, but he...
Manchester United's best centre-half.
I think he'll say he's 110%. I think all this... I've heard a lot of rubbish tonight on your programme.
Jason has been on.
Yeah, but he does snooker, so I'll let him off. So, but one thing you've said, Robbie, all night is, I'm not Mourinho's greatest fan, but you can only build a side around the players that you've got. And Ferguson had unbelievable players. We've still got great players, but you get a result out of what you've got. And what more can man do? It's just like, we win games. Today we've won a game against the manager that never wins anything, living in past. We just get a result when we need to. But I just thought Bailey was unbelievable.
We got Alex from Carlisle who's just texted us to say, I'm an Arsenal follower. I'd have Mourinho over Pochettino any day. He's a winner, Robbie, on that debate.
That's
about
Alex's
which
opinion.
manager.
That's Alex's opinion, Jason.
Yeah. Keith, can we, just before we go to the news, can we just ask you, do you think you can win the Champions League, Keith?
I have a financial interest because the bloke wins trophies. The guy wins trophies.
Yeah.
And I think we're not outsiders, but maybe two sides bigger price than us. Over two legs, I'm only frightened of two sides, and they're the ones that Robbie said. City are, to me, best side in Europe. Real Madrid not far behind them. But in the two-leg scenario, I think he can do a job on anybody.
Oh, that means then that's a yes. Then you think they can win the Champions League?
I think we're third favourites. I don't think we're 9th or 10th favourites, Jason. That is for sure.
Yeah. Good stuff, Keith. Thank you very much indeed.
This is the UK's biggest football debate. This is 606 with Jason Mohammed and Robbie Savage on BBC 5 Live.
Yes, welcome back to 606. The lines are open 08085 909 693 if you want to have your say on the day's football. Ugly scenes at the London Stadium this afternoon. We've heard from the West Ham United captain Mark Noble and also plenty of reaction from Hammers fans.
The ones that went and protested and surrounded the director's box, they've got the right to do that. They absolutely have got the right to give those directors some stick because the stuff that they come out with on social media all of the time and the promises that they give is causing trouble.
Well, you go 1-0 down, you support your club. You don't turn on them. You can't turn on them. How can you call yourself a supporter if you're not supporting them?
At the club tonight have told us they've launched a full and thorough investigation into the incident. If you were there, 08085 909 693. At the bottom of the Premier League, Andrew, a Southampton fan, called us. He thinks his club are underperforming.
With the money we've spent, with the time we've spent in the Premier League, we should be far and away from where we are in the table, and yet we're sat where we are, and Pellegrino's still our manager.
This is the UK's biggest football debate.
Call
08085 909 693. Calls are free from mobiles and landlines.
Text 85058.
Text will be charged at your standard message rate. Or find us on social media. This is 606 on BBC 5 Live.
And if you're a West Bromwich Albion fan listening to the show tonight, do give us a call and let us know if you think or if you resigned yourself to Championship football next season, and keep your designated drivers coming as well. Who's taking you up and down the country today to games? 85058 on the text. Right then, we're still getting lots of calls from West Ham United fans. Let's go to Robert. Robert is on the line. He was in the director's box today. So, Robert, you saw it firsthand. Good evening to you, Robert. Thanks for your call.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, guys. Well, first of all, I'm a West Ham fan. I happen to be in the box because I've done business with Sullivan in the past. And I'm just a normal dad, father of 4. I was with a mate of mine, father of 2. And in the box itself, you have to remember, it's not just Gold and Sullivan. There's families in there. There's children in there. And the first half, fantastic. I mean, a wonderful atmosphere. And I haven't been to the stadium before. Been to Upton Park many times. But it was brilliant. The stadium was amazing. The atmosphere was amazing. And then after the first goal had come in, and don't forget we're playing against Burnley, which is a very good side, and West Ham's been playing very well. But what people tend to forget is when you're sitting in the director's box and you actually have nothing to do with the running of the football club, you have to remember there's kids and families in there, and there's all the Burnley old guard in there, a lovely bunch of people. The abuse that was coming back only a few feet away, only separated by a gap in the middle they can't get over, is unbelievable. I mean, I'm not just talking, we want you out. The swearing, the words, the singing, the abuse against Brady, a woman, in front of children. I mean, it was terrible. It was frightening. And it's not just the people there, but it's also the people that work behind the scenes, the girls serving the drinks, the girls who have done a fantastic lunch, whatever, just normal people. And you're kind of locked in a room, and the abuse coming at you, I'll tell you what, it is so intimidating when you've got a couple of hundred people shouting. And it's embarrassing because, you're a West Ham supporter, you got the Burnley lot in, and they must be thinking, what is all this about? And it was just a real eye-opener for me to be at the receiving end of that, although I've got nothing to do with the running of the club, if you see my point.
Yeah. Were you very close to David Gold and David Sullivan? Could you see if they were affected by what they were hearing?
Yeah, of course they're affected. I mean, you've got to remember, Sullivan's over 70 years old. Whatever you think of him, at the end of the day, he's just a normal bloke who's done well in life. And the abuse coming back was so bad, and he's just sitting there, taking it all in. We're trying to watch the game, in fairness, desperate that we score to turn everybody's attention back to the game. And he's sitting there, and of course it's intimidating. And he's embarrassed, he's intimidated, and he's trying to show strength just by sitting there and soaking it up. But nobody deserves that. Nobody.
Robbie, what's your view?
I'm with Robert. And I seen the pictures that, they actually had to leave before the end of the game. Isn't that right, Robert? Out of the director's box.
Yeah, I mean, we were sitting there, me and my mate Marcus sitting there, and you start to think, is this going to be a problem? Am I going to have to get out early? Has it got that bad? And we've got our wives texting us, is everything okay? We've got our fathers going, is everything all right? Because I know you're there. And it's just, there's nothing wrong with protesting. I couldn't care about protesting. But it is the vile abuse and the anger and the real intimidation that is just ridiculous, and it's spoiled. I mean, the West Ham were playing well. That's the annoying thing. Only something, and it's just so frustrating when it gets like that because there's no winners.
Well, Robert, as you say, there's a time and a place to protest. Have a listen to this. This is Andy who tweeted us earlier to say, I had to take my 6-year-old son home early from the West Ham game today. Fans have the right to protest, but not to invade the pitch and punch each other. Sad times we are living in, says Andy.
Yeah, really sad times. And then also the stewarding. These stewards, bless them, I mean, they're either work experience or they're just average Joes doing a job. And they're in shoes. They're not in like football. They can't run onto a pitch and help. And the time lag between that bloke running on and Noble doing anything, I mean, it's embarrassing. The gap in time is huge. And if they wanted to, so many more people could have gone onto that pitch. I mean, they really could. It's testament to the true West Ham fan that only a few actually decided to do that.
Yeah. A really good call, Robert. Thank you very much indeed. I hope that you have a peaceful night. Thank you very much indeed. That's Robert, West Ham fan. Let's go to Clive, who's a Manchester United fan. Hi, Clive.
Hi, mate. You okay?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much indeed. We're well. On you go, Clive. What do you want to say?
I just want to talk about the Pochettino and Tottenham thing. I just want to give my point. Pochettino being linked with Real Madrid, for me, absolute joke. I think, he managed Espanyol, kept them up fair enough. Went to Southampton, did a year and started something, but then jumped ship after 12 months. I know that Tottenham came in, but he's got a lot of good players there. He's done okay at Tottenham. He has done okay, but he's not challenging for anything. He had half a chance last year and bottled it, in my opinion. I just think that if he wants to show that he is a good manager and that he's a top-class, world-class manager and compare himself with Mourinho, then he's got to stay at Tottenham and he's got to achieve something. And the massive difference, in my opinion, between Mourinho and Pochettino, callers have been calling in and giving their opinion, but, Mourinho, he's won with every single club before he's moved on. He's second in the league at the moment, Champions League contender, FA Cup contender, and he will challenge for the title next season. Fact. Pochettino, he's won nothing. He's got a tricky tie in the FA Cup, in my opinion. He's miles away from challenging for the league. I think gone backwards from last season. All right, City have got better and United, but miles away from it. Again, bottled it midweek, in my opinion. And again, he's in danger of being another Arsenal. Taking Tottenham, being another Arsenal, achieving nothing towards the end.
Clive, why do you think Mourinho gets so much stick then?
Well, he gets stick because he's gone to a class club that has been scoring goals. Everyone's already forgotten about the last two managers that they've had in. That, they give him no time. He hasn't got the team he wants. He spent a few quid because he's gone to one of the biggest clubs in the world. He spent a few quid, but he still hasn't. You can't buy all the players you want. They're not all available. It takes time. And in my opinion, give Mourinho some time. Ultimately, he's got to get there. First thing he has to do is stop them from conceding goals, which, of course, is what he does well. And then he's built on that. And you'll find that over the next season and the season after that, they won't concede goals, which they're not anyhow. Now they'll start playing and linking the midfield to the strikers. And he gets stick because, he's not going out and playing flamboyant. Well, if he had done, they wouldn't be second in the league. They wouldn't be still in the Champions League. People need to be careful what they wish for.
Clive, because Jason, I think, Jane, correct me if I'm wrong, because you can take this up with Clive, that you think, Jason, previously, that, Manchester United should play attractive, entertaining, edge-of-the-seat football at Old Trafford, and you've been critical of some of the performances, Jay, haven't you?
Yeah, beginning of the season, some of the dull performances, absolutely.
Yeah, so what do you think of that?
Was it the Spurs game, I think? That was...
You hammered him.
Yeah, I
Clive,
did,
what do you think to Jason, who just thinks...
Let me give you an example of why that's not required. If you look at today's game, for instance, that Mourinho's tactics today were spot on. You think about it, he's left Rashford on the sidelines, chomping at the bit. That boy was so hungry to get on that pitch. He's come on, he's got his 2 goals, and again, he's matched him really well. He's been against that Alexander-Arnold, great for him. But then the balance, he's brought Rashford on, and the balance of bringing Mata's experience and a bit of class to the other side, absolute genius. We've got the 2 goals, and then when United are under the cosh, and this is the difference, what other managers don't do, and this is why Mourinho is who he is. He brings Fellaini on. I'm not sure who else would have done that. Stroke of genius, and all of a sudden, United were able to hold the ball up a bit further up the pitch, and we're all hold on for a fantastic 3 points, and that's what people aren't seeing. That's a proper manager that knows how to use what he's got available to him.
But Jason, so what do you think to Jason, Clive, saying that, as a Man United fan, and you, I suspect you are one, are saying that, United's not good enough, they've got to play attractive football?
He's taking you back now, Clive, probably 6 months for when, I think it was the Spurs game, and they were pretty negative against Spurs, weren't they? And I suppose it's horses for courses, that's what he's trying to say.
Did they win that game, Jay?
No, it was a draw, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, they beat Spurs, didn't they?
No, I can't remember.
Yeah, they beat Spurs,
It was a long time ago. It's so long ago, I forgot about it, but you're digging up old dirt.
A game they won. Go on, Clive.
The difference is, I just think it takes time, and ultimately, there's no point going out there playing flashy football, conceding goals, and ultimately losing championships and losing titles. He's still, like you said, he can still get a couple of cups, and again, he's got to build something. He's been there 2 minutes. And I think you'll find over the next 2 to 3 years, they'll be up there challenging every single year. And that's
so last question then, because I asked Ray, the Spurs fan, if Jose Mourinho would have been manager of Spurs, 1-0 up, second half, do you think Spurs would now be sitting in the quarterfinals of the Champions League?
If Mourinho was, not only that, I'll tell you something else as well. 1, yes, is a fact. And 2, if Pochettino had been sat in that seat against 2-0 up against Liverpool today, United would have lost 3-2. This is the difference. There's a massive gulf in class, and again, like I said already, Mourinho, great manager, and he'll prove it as he has done at every single club he's been to. Pochettino, I'm sure he'll get better, but miles away from Mourinho. Shouldn't even be. I mean, considering for Real Madrid, I don't know what that's all about, but comparing him to Mourinho is equally as daft.
A couple of texts before you go. This is a texter who says Mourinho wins a game, suddenly he's a genius. Says Clive. This person's listening to you. He's the ultimate anti-football manager, says this texter. Rob, the Spurs fan, says, Robbie, give Pochettino the money Mourinho has been spending. Then if he wins nothing, then you call him poor in relation to Mourinho.
Clive?
Yeah, if you sell the players that he's got available to him, he'll have more money than Mourinho. He's got class players there. He's got a great team.
Yeah, but Rob's got a point, though. Clive?
Yeah.
Rob's got a point. Give Pochettino the money Mourinho's been spending. How much money you spent, Clive?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, you can only buy the players that are available, and I think you'll find that. And again, he's at a different club. You can't look at the money because players, even with all the money in the world, those players wouldn't go to Tottenham.
Fair point.
Yeah. Don't forget, these players, they don't go to Pochettino's, they go to Mourinho's. I can tell you now, Pogba wouldn't have gone anywhere. Wherever Mourinho went, that's where Pogba would have gone, and that's what you've got to think about. And of course, one of the biggest clubs in the world.
this is a very funny text. Mourinho gets stick, Robbie, because his teams are boring to watch in relation to the budget he's working with. They are no Barcelona, they are no Real Madrid, they are no Bayern Munich, they are no Manchester City. Hence, they won't win a major trophy with him at the helm. He's a Tony Pulis with pocket money, long ball and hope, says this text. Right, Clive, thank you very much.
Cheers, Clive.
Very cheeky, very cheeky. Right, Jake is on the line, Southampton fan. Hi, Jake.
Hello.
Hey, how are you? Jake. Hi, Jake. Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, I've never called in before. So,
well, you're very welcome, Jake. You're very welcome. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, so my point is Southampton have been through a lot worse than what we're going through now, but it's the slow capitulation of all the good work being undone by Les Reed and now Mauricio Pellegrino. It's just really, really hard to watch, and I don't understand why this man is still leading our team to the pitch each week.
You know, I know a previous caller said that as well. You know, so just say they roll the dice now, right, and they're going to get rid of the manager because of the situation they find themselves in. It's okay saying that he should go, but who would you say to come in now with so few games left to come and try and keep Southampton in the Premier League?
That's honestly really hard to say, but I feel that's the situation that's been caused by poor management from the top down. January, it's easy to say that Marco Silva could have been an easy target to bring in, but I honestly think we're now in a situation where there isn't anyone to replace Pellegrino with, and now we're stuck with him. And I don't think anything's going to get any better before the end of the season. We've picked up just 5 points, all draws against all the promoted teams. We've got some decent points against the likes of Spurs, Arsenal, United, but we can't seem to beat anyone around us bar West Brom. Thank God for West Brom. Yeah, we're in serious trouble.
Do you know, if I was a Saints fan, do you know I'd be worried about?
Sure.
Jake, I listened to Mauricio Pellegrino's press conference and he talked about this relegation scrap as a nice challenge. That doesn't sound like a manager who is ready to roll his sleeves up and kick and fight his way out of a relegation scrap.
Well, what's he supposed to say, Jay?
Well, it's not a nice challenge, is it, Robbie? It's not a nice challenge.
What kind of challenge is it then?
He says, it's a nice challenge. My players were ready to compete. And by all accounts, they weren't even in it today at all, Jake.
So what should he have said? I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Well, it's not a... Is it,
okay.
Are you saying it's a nice challenge?
No, I don't know what I'm saying.
Robbie?
What I'm saying is it's going to be a challenge this day. So what should he have said then?
Well, a nice challenge is when possibly you're pushing for Champions League qualification or European challenge.
What should he have said then?
Well, maybe he's saying my players are ready to roll their sleeves up, scrap and fight for this club and do everything we can to keep this fantastic club in the Premier League, and we'll do everything we can, and I'll guarantee the fans will put our bodies on the line and we'll try and stay in this league. Instead, he comes out with, it's a nice challenge. Jake?
It's a challenge. It's not a nice challenge.
A nice challenge.
And Pellegrino each week comes out all these tight shades. You know, the other week it's like, now it's time to.
Oh, Jake, we're just losing you. So I think we should go to Neil very quickly, who's a Villa fan. Hi, Neil.
Hi there, Jason. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, very good. Thank you very much indeed, Neil. What a win.
Yes, I mean, played very well. But I called really to talk about Jack Grealish because I'm calling it now. He should be in Southgate's squad in June. Ooh. This lad has got everything. He is the best English talent since Gascoigne. In my opinion, I'm with my son and my 2 colleagues in the back, all Villa, and we all agree that there's no one in the Championship or Premier League who's English that can do what this kid can do in terms of dropping his shoulders, finding space, strength on the ball, and his vision, his awareness. He's twice, 3 times the player that played in the Premier League under Sherwood 2 or 3 seasons ago.
So Neil, so you're saying, I think my radio went funny for a minute. You're telling me that Jack Grealish should be the England squad, considering in the Championship this season he's played 16 games, 1 goal and 4 assists. You're saying he should be the England squad?
Absolutely.
One goal and 4 assists in the Championship.
He's not a centre forward, is he?
Four assists.
You're not
4
watching,
assists in the Championship gets you into the England squad. No, I'm not. I'm just going on the stats. Neil.
Today he played against.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
3 players that played in the Champions League last year in
Brilliant.
Portugal.
Well done, Jack Grealish. But you're telling me Jack Grealish, 16 games in the Championship, 4 assists in the Championship, should be in the England squad.
He makes the passes. Absolutely. He makes the passes to make
4 assists in the Championship gets you into the England squad. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well done. Well done.
Said that 4 times.
Yeah.
So
And he's got
Neil,
4
who's
assists. That's 5.
Neil, who's Jack Grealish going in ahead of then? Neil.
Well, sorry, what was the question?
Who's Jack Grealish, right? So for Jack Grealish to go into England's World Cup squad, he has to take the place of someone. So who is he better than?
Well, I think he's playing as well as anybody at the minute. Certainly, maybe Wilshere.
So Wilshere just went to AC Milan and dictated the play. Went to AC Milan and dictated the play, yeah? But Jack Grealish, who's got 4 assists, that's the 6th time I've said it, in the Championship, should go to the World Cup ahead of Jack Wilshere.
That's the 5th time you said that now.
6, actually.
I'm just throwing it out there. The fact is that we need an X factor in the World Cup in June, and this lad's got it.
So
and
it's
today he's up
great,
against Champions League players and played them off the park. And if you've been watching him this season, there is. I mean, I think he's head and shoulders the best midfielder in the Championship at the moment.
So, because you've got
playing against Premier League quality players.
Well, because you've got assists against Burton, Barnsley, Bristol City and Wolves, you should go to the World Cup. Well done, thank you for that. Anyway, who's next? What's this?
Good luck to Neil.
Designated drivers, well done, good luck.
Jack.
Jack Grealish, if you're in the England squad, I'll take all that back. Right, who's next?
This is 606. Robbie Savage's Designated Drivers on BBC 5 Live.
What's this, Jay? Jay?
I'm just trying to think. You do the designated drivers and I'll tell you.
Do you play this on your Radio 2 show?
No, it's a bit too noisy for us on a Sunday morning.
9-year-old Harvey, please could you say thank you to George for driving him to Newcastle from Lincolnshire to see them win 3-0. It's 5 years to the day since Harvey went to his first match when they also beat a team wearing red and white. Steve, big shout out to me please as I drive from Portsmouth. It says on my thing 18,851 miles and now I can join the 92 club. Wow, well done Steve, brilliant effort. Positively Shaman. Big shout out for Alan Beecham for driving a car full of Halifax town 4 hours to Woking and back to see a fantastic 3-1 win. Matt Hill, please going to give a shout out to our designated driver Alex Clark, who has taken us from Carlisle to Exeter and back. 1-1 draw for the Blues and 13 points from 15. A playoff push is on. And James, big thanks to my son Michael driving me home to Derby for my Christmas present trip to Chelsea.
Yeah, that was Tiger Feet. I had to wait for the chorus then. Right, yeah, Tiger Feet. So I was right then. Hull City, Tigers, James Maddison, Madison Avenue, Don't Call Me Baby. James Maddison got a hat-trick. There were 4 penalties in the game. Am I right, Robbie?
Yeah, correct. James Maddison's got a 21-minute hat-trick for Hull. Jay, just quickly on your Radio 2 show, does anybody listen?
Just the 2 million people,
right, well
Robbie.
done, Jay, well done. Let's
Just
go.
the 2 million people, Robbie.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
Can we cut this video up, by the way, for our social media team, because that's very good. Robbie dancing along to mud. All right, then, let's go to Daniel then, in Newcastle. Actually, why don't we keep that mud in the background? That's great. Daniel, have you ever been on the radio with Tiger Feet playing in the background?
I have never been on the radio ever.
Ever? Really?
Oh, three tonight. Three new callers. That's great.
3 brand new callers. Amazing.
That'll be 2 million and 3 to your Radio 2 for listening to you, Jay.
Yeah. I think that's 1.5 million more than listening to your podcast. Anyway, Daniel, off you go, Daniel.
Yeah, basically, I'm just listening. I've been listening to you all evening talk about you talk about Mourinho and talk about Pochettino and talk about Klopp and about Guardiola, and it's like Rafa Benitez at Newcastle United is doing an unbelievable job, and I just kind of wanted to with less funds and all of that kind of stuff. I just want to kind of throw his hat in the ring a little bit and talk about that, and sort of see what you guys thought about that.
I was asked a question on a TV show today, Daniel, that is Rafa Benitez better than Newcastle in terms he's doing a wonderful job with a group of, in my opinion, Championship players, 32 points. Is Rafa Benitez better than Newcastle? Newcastle fans might not like to hear that, but saying that, if he gets investment at Newcastle, who knows what could happen. But you're looking at the teams, Arsenal is obviously Arsene Wenger might be a bit vulnerable. He's got another year left after this year, and if they win the Europa League, he'll probably stay. Do you think Rafa Benitez, if Arsene Wenger decided to leave at the end of the season or if he was to get sacked, do you think Rafa Benitez could do Arsenal?
Yeah, essentially yes. My heart kind of sinks every time a top 6 manager anywhere in Europe kind of gets released, because Benitez could do a job any of those clubs, So it's like, basically, why wouldn't Arsenal be interested in somebody of Rafa Benitez? He's proven he can do it at every single level, and now he can prove it. When he joined Newcastle United, they were talking about how he's never been in a relegation fight before, or he's never experienced this before, and he's proven over and over again that he can do it at every level. And it's not nice hearing you say that he's too good for Newcastle, but he's an unbelievable, he's a top 4, top 6 manager. Yeah.
That was a question I was asked today, Daniel. Is he too good for a Newcastle side? Could he be managing at the higher end of the Premier League? I think he could. But saying that, if he had the investment at Newcastle, fantastic football club, 52,000 fans, who knows where he could take him? Is Jay gone?
No, I'm here. I thought you were asking Daniel a question. I thought you were going to... It did sound like the longest question ever broadcast on the BBC, to be honest with you. Your question ever.
Hey, listen, I've really enjoyed tonight.
I tell you what, you've been brilliant.
I know. Once again, that's why I win awards. See you later,
We're going to end with Rob in Somerset, who says, you simply don't get it. Poch comes across well in the media, whereas Mourinho comes across as an arrogant, choose your own word. Thank you very much indeed, Rob. Kermode Mail's film review is up next. Kelly Cates and Chris Sutton will be taking your calls tomorrow between 6 o'clock and 7:30. 606 is, of course, a Shooting Shark production for BBC Radio 5 Live. Thank you very much indeed for listening. And if you can join us at 6 o'clock on BBC Radio 2, you can add to our listenership. But there's some great programmes on 5 Live too. The choice is yours. Bye for now.
This is the UK's biggest football debate. This is 606 with Robbie Savage and Jason Mohammed on BBC 5 Live.
So that was the broadcast programme. Thank you for downloading the podcast. It's at this stage of the show where we say hello to Robbie. He's on his way to get his taxi to get to the station. And Robbie gives us a review of the show. Hello, Rob.
Hi, Jay. All right?
Very well, thank you very much indeed. What a lively show that was tonight.
Oh, I tell you what, social media going mad, Jay. My social media, can't mention it, but I'm sure as 606 is yours would be if you had over 10,000 followers. So, first one, Jay, on text, Sam says, they're the worst combo, me and you. For some reason, Jason weighs in and is quite confrontational, whereas other hosts play a more diplomatic role. I think that's harsh on you. And this one, Katie Muck says, just had to turn the radio off. Don't hate on Super Jack. He does deserve to be in the England squad.
This is the Jack Grealish caller.
The Jack Grealish caller. So, bit hard. Well, that's the Villa fans' point of view. And the Informer says, nice to hear Robbie Savage is biased as ever. Couldn't stand to talk about Villa for a second, so just started shouting non-stop. And then they've put a sign with end at the end of it.
So, listen, in terms of Jack Grealish, though, you had a point.
You watch championship games, Jay, and listen, Jack Grealish is a good talent. He's been a talent for many years. He's playing well, 16 games in the championship this season, 1 goal and 4 assists. Does that get him into the England squad? The last player to play for England from the championship was Jay Bothroyd. So are we saying now, because you have got 4 assists in the championship, you should be going to the World Cup with England? I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong.
He is playing very well. I was watching a bit of the game tonight, and he did play very, very well.
Do you think he should go to the World Cup?
But I don't think any player in the Championship for England, when you consider all the players they've got at their disposal playing for Premier League clubs, no way. They should not be calling on Championship players. But I understand the sentiment and the passion. Look, Villa fans, they're on their way home. They're loving it. They've just beaten Wolverhampton Wanderers, the leaders, 4-1. They've absolutely battered them, and they're loving it, and they're buzzing. So I'd expect them to. And you keep saying it's a show about opinions, and we like all the opinions.
Hey, and George O'Mahony's just heard you completely dismiss a Villa supporter who was advocating Jack Grealish for England. Did not even have the grace to give him a hearing or argue the case. Disgraceful.
Who was that, George O'Mahony?
No, George Mahoney. Johnny, George.
I thought you said George O'Mahony's been in touch. I thought you'd be asking him for another tattoo.
You wouldn't know who he was. George O'Mahony. Is it? Yeah, I'm just reading my Twitter. Mahoney. George O'Mahony.
Did you miss that? I thought you might be asking Mr. O'Mahony for another tattoo.
Right,
Like it. Anyway, right, it's time for you to review the show because some of us have got homes to go to.
Right, I really enjoyed the show tonight. I thought there was great passion from callers. 3 first-time callers, which is always good. I thought Ray was brilliant, the Spurs fan, first-time caller, made some great points. But obviously I was, sticking up a little bit for Jose Mourinho. I thought you got the designated call as well. I thought it was quite easy though. Some of the West Ham fans calling in, brilliant. So it was a good show.
Yep. Okay, marks out of 10 for the show?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 9, I think.
Wow!
Because
That's
I
the
forgot
highest
to say about
score of the year.
I forgot to say half the show was taken up by Frankie.
Yeah.
We always love Frankie on the show, so I'm going to give it a 9. I thought it was a great mix tonight. I thought it was a very, very good show, and the best thing about it was you hardly spoke.
So marks for the producers out of 10? Or is that the mark for the producer, the 9?
Well, I had Stanley with me instead of Sean, who does a fantastic job week in, week out with me in London. Sean, who's brilliant, but he couldn't make tonight. So Stanley filled in, who produces the show now and again for us, who's also produces the podcast now and again for us. He stepped in and done well.
Well done, Stan.
As did Crossy and Dave and Mike in Salford, where you were. So I think it was produced really well.
Okay, good stuff. And my performance, score out of 10?
One of your best, because you spoke less. Because people, you got to realise, Jay, people don't want to hear from you. Seriously, mate, they don't want to hear from you. Just get that right, and then you'll have half a chance in this industry.
I got the music right, nice and easy.
And
Too
I love
easy.
the guy who said, "I'm not going to go to Jay because he does the snooker."
The snooker, my finest moment. And
yes, I'm going to give you an 8 because you hardly spoke.
Oh, I did. I spoke quite a bit today. What about your performance?
9.
Oh, here we go.
9.
And why were you so good?
9. Got to be a 9.
Why were you so good?
Well, because I thought I handled the calls well. I thought I engaged with the callers well. I thought I created debate, something that you've got to get used to or start doing, not just like reading text out. So I thought, I basically held the show together once again.
You're only upset with me reading the text out because there were some that were anti-Robbie Savage. That's why you're miserable.
Don't mind that. I like that. Listen, I don't want to be liked. I don't want to be hated. I want to be in the middle.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you very much indeed, Rob. Really enjoyed your company today.
Very, very top man.
Thank you very much indeed. Really good to talk to you. That's Robbie Savage. Thank you very much indeed for listening. And of course, if you're downloading the podcast and you've never called the show, we had 3 brand new callers today. So if you're ever tempted, we'd love to have you. 08085 909 693 is our number. 3 brand new callers tonight. They were magnificent. I'm sure you'd be too if you've never called the show before. Have a terrific week. And once again, thank you for downloading 606. Bye for now.
On digital and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
bbc.co.uk/5live.